Transparency for your tax dollars. You pay money that goes into our schools, but some of it might not stay in the district that you live in.
For students who choose, they can attend charter schools, right? Well, many school districts and lawmakers are calling for charter reform, saying cyber charters are overpaid, while others say following the money, that is very hard.
CBS 21's Jessica Babbs showing us how your money is being spent and the change people are now pushing for.
I think the funding formula right now is really what is most fair.
It's been detrimental to some school districts.
What's the price of public education? About how much does the district pay out to cyber charters?
We saw over the past 5 years a threefold increase.
Depending on which school or lawmaker you ask, there's not a clear cost.
Nobody's been able to show me proof yet on the actual dollars being spent on the students.
Charter schools are funded based on a formula set up by lawmakers 2 decades ago, giving students choice. Instead of parents paying tuition, the school district the student is from pays the charter school.
They are the ones who determine what they spend to educate a student in their school district, and we get about 75% of that.
That cost is based on their budget.
Obviously, as school districts' budgets increase, the cost of that student goes up.
Kids from different districts could attend the same charter school for a different price. At Central Dauphin, for the 2021 school year, they paid about $10,000 per regular ed kid going to a charter, while Millersburg paid more than $14,000.
Sometimes you put things in place that look great on paper, and over time you see, we need to tweak it. We've never tweaked this in 25 years.
Cyber charters, in most cases, get more than 90% of their money from local school districts.
They don't have the ability to raise taxes. They have to be adequately funded, right? Because they have no other means to generate revenue.
Comparing the cost of instruction during the 2018-19 school year, Halifax spent almost $12,000 educating each student. Commonwealth Charter and PA Cyber are popular choices among their charter students. That same year, both cyber charters spent much less on instruction, yet Halifax paid the charters about $13,000 per kid. Where is that money going?
We have about 800 full-time employees. About half of those are Pennsylvania certified teachers. We provide every one of our students with a computer, textbooks, PE kits, science equipment. We have to allow them to create a small classroom in their home.
And the list goes on, from IT departments, resources and support services to teach students with IEPs, internet reimbursements, summer classes, as well as other programs and operational costs.
So about 92% of our funding goes directly or indirectly to serving students.
While traditional public schools also have many of these costs, cyber charters often spend money on advertising.
I've never seen schools, public schools, as a business. It's a public service.
What does Pennsylvania Cyber spend on advertising?
2% of our budget.
At PA Cyber, 2% of $200 million is about $4 million. At Agora, they spend closer to $1 million.
For those who might say that that's too much money on advertising and that money should be spent on kids instead of advertising, what do you have to say about that?
I could say, why do you need to spend, money on having a new AstroTurf football field? Each school has to take what the dollars are that they receive, what that revenue is, and they have to make financial, educated decisions as to what they do. If we didn't spend on advertising, how would people know that we even exist?
These are the only 2 cyber charters in PA that would do an interview with us. When it comes down to the others, the Pennsylvania Department of Education posts lots of data, like these spreadsheets stacked with numbers.
All you're going to do is see money figures plastered everywhere, right? Nowhere in there can you drill this down to a document that's showing the actual spending per school, on these students.
Even comparing financial reports that cyber charters have submitted to the state, it can be hard to tell where the money goes. Some list costs like advertising, while others, like Commonwealth Charter, don't. They're the largest cyber charter in the state. Their revenue report shows as of June 2021, they received more than $400 million. While we can't see exactly how much they spent on advertising, we can see that the same year they spent $13.5 million, about 3% of their revenue, on community relations services.
These dollar figures are not compiled in a way that is useful to a legislator.
Commonwealth Charter also spent $500,000 on lobbying since the beginning of 2021, which is a mere fraction of spending for them. In that same time, traditional districts in our area didn't spend money directly on lobbying. And while they may be part of organizations that do, the associations for educators, school boards, and administrators combined spent roughly $721,000 on lobbying.
There's not the level of accountability financially or educationally.
We saw through the pandemic that our school districts can handle a lot of this type of cyber education for a lot less money.
These are the same school districts that were begging, and I mean begging, for billions of dollars from the federal government to help them get through the pandemic. And then they somehow think we can do this for $3,000 a year. Like it's hypocritical and inconsistent.
In Halifax, comparing the last few years, they're paying thousands more per student. Last year, spending close to 5% of their budget.
$1 million out of our budget affects programs that we can offer, courses that we can offer, the amount of teachers that we can hire, everything from not being able to afford musical instruments for a band to delaying the purchase of textbooks or computers.
Districts can only estimate the number of students who are going to choose charter schools each year.
The local district can't budget for what they have to pay the charter school because they have no idea what their costs are going to be.
Parents are leaving because the school districts are failing them. It's not like we're taking money out of a school district. It simply follows the kid.
Do you think there's enough transparency as to where the money is going?
You know, I think, well, at least for us, yes. I think we are being as transparent as we need to be and that the law expects.
Representative Cerisi is calling for charter reform, proposing legislation that would change the way charters are funded. But Representative Sani, who chairs the House Education Committee, says charter school reform doesn't have the votes to get across the finish line. He's calling on the state to make the data easier to dissect. For CBS 21 News, I'm Jessica Babb.